This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by freedombookclub.com.
Turn around, my man. You're taking that down there to Obama.
Prepping for protest. He is known only as Chris. Minutes later, he is in the crowd outside the Obama Town Hall event in Phoenix. But these Second Amendment activists say they were motivated by something that happened here in New Hampshire.
I think we got a porthole window going out.
When Barack Obama came to Portsmouth in mid-August, this man, William Kostric, openly wore a holstered pistol to the protest outside. Authorities at all levels reacted professionally, but mainstream media outlets went hysterical. This may have inspired the dozen or so open carriers in Phoenix to take their step. Quoted on TalkingPointsMemo.com, open carry activist Ernest Hankock had this to say, quote, "We've been around this rhetoric that was building up around William Kostric, who did this in New Hampshire. We talked to Al, a Phoenix cop, and we were like, look, we know where this is going, and we want to make sure we come down, we're peaceful, and we demonstrate the right of the people to carry their firearms, and the police protected our right," unquote. So he seems to be saying that the media backlash, the media attacks, inspired this supportive act. But one of the readers at Talking Points Memo had this to say in the comments section. Quote, "I knew when the first patriot showed up with a gun and nothing happened, this kind of thing would snowball. Every no-brain nut will bring guns if they don't stop it. If I brought a gun to a doctor's appointment, they would call the police. If I brought one to a library, they would call the police. If I brought one to a Bush town hall, I for sure would have been arrested and probably sent to Gitmo," unquote. That's a poster operating on the handle under the handle Eve Cairo. So basically that person seems to be saying that this snowball effect is happening because there was not an attack or a backlash against William. Guess it all depends on how you define backlash. Of course, these gun demonstration opponents are right about one thing, and I hear this over and over again. They express their outrage about the way people were treated at protests surrounding Bush events. I do want to point out one thing, though. Although this Second Amendment protest did involve bigger firearms and larger numbers of people, it struck me as a less edgy protest than William's here in New Hampshire. That's because, as far as I can tell from reading the news reports, none of these protesters were carrying particularly provocative signs. I think that part is a step in the right direction. I think another useful step would be for the gun protesters to ratchet down the rhetoric a little bit. The danger in these Second Amendment protests is that they will, as Sun-tzu put it, motivate our enemies to action. Ultimately, what we want to be doing is converting our opponents, not mobilizing them to greater feats of violence. But if you don't have the right to carry a firearm hundreds of yards away from the president and multiple barriers away from the president, then it is not a right. And all our rights, both First and Second Amendment rights, do need to be protected around presidents. That is where they are most under threat. Oh, one other thing I should mention. This was also in the well-written Talking Points Memo article. Phoenix protester Ernest Hankock and the AR-15 carrier Chris both have something in common. They were involved in some form or fashion in the Ron Paul campaign. This is Dave Ridley signing off for RidleyReport.com this August 18th, 2009. From the relatively free state of New Hampshire.
Does Oprah Winfrey's book club make you spew gnarly chunks? Wouldn't it be cool to have a pro-freedom book on the bestseller lists? freedombookclub.com invites you to participate in choosing the book of the month. Visit their website, choose from 4 finalists, then purchase their book of the month. freedombookclub.com, making freedom a bestseller.